We are glad to have this opportunity to talk with you about your recent retirement after a fruitful 25 years with the Mexican Medical Ministry. Please tell us a little bit about how you first got involved with this ministry.
Well, without going into all the detail of how the Lord led us into Mexican Medical Ministries, let me just say that we began with them taking teams from Canada to Mexico. And then in 2000 through to 2004, both of us were involved in managing the office of Mexican Medical Ministries in San Diego before moving to Loreto in 2004.
Over the past 20 years in Loreto, you've seen a significant growth in churches and in communities and in the gospel impact. Could you share a standout moment or an achievement from your ministry that truly reflects the impact you've had on the people in the region where you lived?
When we arrived in Loreto, it was quite obvious that there was no fellowship or cooperation between the pastors. And it is really important to receive God's blessing. There has to be love between the Christians. And so we started that first month of being in Loreto, bringing the pastors to our home for coffee and fellowship in a time when they could pray for each other.
And we did meet monthly, and then we met in our house for the first little while, and then after that we started meeting in pastors' homes and in their churches, and that expanded so that we were meeting monthly even till this day. They're still meeting monthly, which is a really great response.
Another thing we noticed when we got to Loreto is that there was nothing being done for the English-speaking Christians in Loreto. So within the first year or two, we started a Bible study in our home for those who spoke English. And then that developed into leading worship services on Sundays. Then COVID came and stopped everything. So we couldn't meet, the churches couldn't meet. But then as they were removing the restrictions and things were opening up again, we were involved in helping to establish a bilingual evangelical church, Spanish and English. And that is today the largest church in Loreto, with the church with the largest congregation. It's just truly wonderful.
But really our main focus was to conduct health fairs in the different communities in Baja Sur, which is the southern part of Baja. So we would go to different locations every month.
And we were not only in the churches, but we were also in 2 prisons. At first, we were training the Christians in the churches on how to share their faith. And then through what they were learning, we put on the health fairs, and the national Christians were able to share their faith in the Lord Jesus in ways they never thought they could.
Working along with the doctors and the dentists, we also ran a children's program where we tried to teach the children the importance of being healthy in many different ways. So we put on programs where I created 8 different stations that included hand washing, brushing teeth, how to eat healthy, drink healthy food, healthy drinks, trying to teach them to avoid drugs and to avoid things that would damage their bodies. And then we would weave into these stories the importance of getting to have a very healthy spiritual life as well. And so we would introduce Jesus Christ to them in ways that were non-offensive, not pushy. We weren't trying to separate them from the Catholic Church in any way. And this turned out to be very, very interesting because I had to do it all in Spanish.
I wish we also had the time for you to tell us about how you regularly took these evangelistic health fairs into the prisons and to share those results with us. But unfortunately, we just don't have the time today. Well, you recently retired and relocated to Arizona. What prompted this decision?
Well, as COVID came, we were also approaching age 75. So COVID closed the churches. We weren't able to go in the prisons, weren't able to do the health fairs. The worship services that we were having for the English-speaking people had to be stopped as well. And so it was time for us to start thinking about ourselves and whether we ought to retire, move back to the United States or Canada. And we reviewed our ministries, and we were seeing that we really had not created any dependencies. And we knew that the prison ministry would be carrying on without us with the Baptist Church in La Paz. And we also knew that the new bilingual church in Loreto was going to really flourish. We just really believed that, and it has. So that's what was kind of behind what was happening at that time.
So it only seemed reasonable that we should think about where we were going to relocate to, whether we would stay in Mexico, we would go back to the US or Canada. But then we had to think about, well, what kind of finances would we have? Would we have old age pension or the CPP that we have in Canada? And then also would we have, old age pension or Social Security in the United States? And so we thought, well, we better start looking for a place that would be inexpensive for us to live. And so Don started researching on the internet, and he was led to Bullhead City, Arizona.
In your retirement, Don, you started new ministries in Arizona, including writing books, leading Bible study, and running a handyman business. Can you share a bit about these new endeavors?
Yes, well, I've written 4 books so far. In His Hands, which is my autobiography, Chosen to be on the team and in the game, explaining the various stages a person must go through in the Christian life to really find fulfillment and purpose in life. And then the third book was Why This, Why Now, which explains from a biblical point of view why God has allowed or caused COVID. And then the 4th book was More Exceptional Days, explaining the need for people to have a closer relationship with God. And there are 2 more books that should be out very soon. The first is The Telling, which is explaining how to develop a meaningful conversation with people that will lead them into their personal relationship with Christ. It explains really what we've been teaching the churches in Mexico all this time. And then the 4th book is Bad Lies Worth Knowing, explaining why people have rejected Christ, many without even realizing it. And it helps them to reevaluate their lives and to reconsider who Jesus really is and what he has to offer them.
We now live in a mobile home community, and there's another man who also lives in the community who's started a Bible study. And so when he's not here, Don helps to lead the study. We have spent some time searching for a new church in this area, and we have found the Harvest Bible Church, where we feel comfortable and useful. Together, we have become greeters at the church, and we're now involved here in Bullhead City.
As you mentioned, I started a handyman business where I'm in people's homes in our community every morning, doing odd jobs, and then after I've done the work for them, I give them one of my books. And that initiates a discussion. And through that discussion, people have said to me, either immediately or days following, that they've really enjoyed reading the books. Some have said they're going to reconsider going back to church, and some have said they're developing a deeper relationship with Jesus Christ as a result. So I'm really excited about all of that.
Finally, a 2-part question to end on. What do you contribute your success in the ministry to, and what message would you like to leave with our church here in South Delta?
Well, first of all, we want to thank you all very, very sincerely about your financial support for us in the ministries that we have been involved in, and also for all the prayers that you have offered up on our behalf with Mexican Medical Ministries. We have been in some very interesting situations, being in the prison with men who have rioted and even killed their director. Some of the areas that are have typhoid, some other very interesting diseases, HIV, people who are against Christianity, and we've been held up in prayer by you and other people in Canada and the United States, and we're very, very thankful for those prayers.
I believe the success in the ministries, though, have not been as a result of who we are or what we've done, but really what the Lord has been able to do because we have been obedient to him. You know, too often today, the temptation is to listen to the Lord and evaluate his guidance, to listen to what he has to say, but then to reevaluate his guidance based on our wisdom. And that's not the way to live and receive God's blessings. No, what we need to do is to say to him, Lord, wherever you will send me, I will go. Whatever you ask me to do, I will do. And ask no questions. That's really the secret to living a fruitful life and having a wonderful ministry. Thank you all very much.